Live and for the first time on the air, coming to you from London and Munich, Germany. Welcome to, we have a guest, excellent. Hello guests, who are you? You are Bill Hyndman, hi.
Hi.
Android EMEA Developer Relations Weekly Office Hours. This is our very first on-air hangout that we're hosting here in Europe. So I'm in Munich, Germany, and I've got Nick and Rich in London, UK, and we're here to talk about any and all Android developer-related questions.
Okay. Hello.
I'm just going to move our setup around a little bit here to try and minimize that feedback you're getting.
I'm glad that you were able to get into the Hangout. We posted the link at sort of the last minute, so I'm glad it worked okay for you.
Yeah, no, that was fine.
The last minute is the perfect time to do it.
Exactly.
How's your feedback now, Sparky? Does it sound okay?
It does. I'm not hearing any. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback, but it's not.
A little bit. I'll just move the laptop another couple of inches from the camera then.
So, well, as the first attendee, Phil, do you want to get us started?
I posted a comment. I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
Yeah, our app got suspended last Friday night, and it just. We fired off emails to try and get some clarification on it and that sort of thing, but just nothing comes back.
So, if you had a suspended application, you should have got an email from the team, right?
Yeah, it just said it said it was suspended because of it's a sport app, and it shows live odds. Doesn't link to any of the gambling sites. There's no external links. It's just information.
Wait, what was the app called?
Sportmate. And just football scores. And we had an upgrade to another version of the app that we hosted ourselves, and that app did have links to an external betting site. Now, whether that was the problem, I don't know.
It sounds a lot like it probably was. Any links to external betting sites are considered as facilitating gambling.
This was another app. This app wasn't hosted in the market.
Oh, okay.
I would not expect us to suspend based on an app that wasn't hosted at our site. I think we would just look at the APK that's hosted within Android market /
So did you reply to the email that you got explaining the situation?
Yeah, we've sent off 2 or 3, but got nothing back. And the problem is, we had, 800, 900,000 downloads and 170,000 users. We were number 12 in the free sports, and now we're back to square one.
Potentially, yeah. Unless they can get it sorted out. We're not part of that process.
Yeah.
I've just been told the process is that you get an email, it should explain what's happened and what's doing that email, and you should reply to that email. But
all it
that's
sort
not
of
working for you.
No, all it says is just it points you to the help page where you fill in a form, and away it goes.
Okay.
Like I say, we replied to that last Saturday morning, and again Sunday and Monday, and we've had nothing back, and it's killing us.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, if you want to send us your package name, maybe privately, one of us might be able to look into it and see if there's something non-obvious about it.
Yep, can do that. Thank you very much.
What's it called? Sportmate?
Sportmate. We've put a new version of the app up. We've taken out the odds and taken out the upgrade link. But yeah, 1,600 downloads as opposed to 800,000-900,000.
Yeah, we understand. Yeah, like Rich said, if you can send us the package name, then we can try and follow up offline. But there's not going to be a huge amount we can do now. Like the team you're in communication with, replying to the takedown email is talking directly to the only team who can do anything.
Yep.
So you're doing the right thing. Like I'm sure they're extremely busy and they will respond to your email. But we can also try and follow up internally if you send us that package name.
Yep, that'd be brilliant.
Okay.
What else do we have? We have Kamran Mackey on the line. Did you have a question about Android development, Kamran? Possibly not.
Yeah, she was just typing, said hello.
Oh, okay.
Let me reply.
Right, well, while we're waiting, maybe I can
Cameron
address
is
some of
typing.
the other questions.
We just wondered if you have a question, Cameron, for us today. If not, we've got some questions in the G+ post that we can start answering. But feel free to ask one in the chat window if you'd like.
Okay, well, I'll start on the other questions that people asked.
Okay.
We've got Marco Pagliari was asking about setting proxies for the Wi-Fi connection on Android versions 2.x. We already figured out in a previous week how to get the proxy for Wi-Fi and Android Honeycomb and up. He wants to know about the legacy versions. Unfortunately, the answers I got back from the Android team on that is that there was no platform support for network-specific proxies prior to Honeycomb, so there is no way to get that particular network proxy on Android 2.x.
I missed that, Sparky. Was there a question in there?
There was. The question was, how do I retrieve the proxy settings for the Wi-Fi network on Android 2.x? Next to your back icon and your home icon and your recent application.
We just had a minor networking issue and we're back now. Sorry. I'm glad that the whole thing didn't go down.
If your application is aware of the Honeycomb Plus APIs, then hey, welcome back. Yeah, so if your application does know about Honeycomb Plus APIs, then those little dots for the more actions appear up in the action bar over on the far right-hand side. On a wide screen, that'll be at the top, but on a smaller, narrower device such as a phone, particularly if you hold your phone in portrait mode, then there might not be room for the whole action bar across the top, in which case the action bar may split and the action icons go to the bottom. But this needn't be mysterious. It's a well-defined behavior.
It is. It's also documented on the developer.android.com/design site under the action bar. You can see the action bar pattern and the split action bar pattern are documented on there. And it's the is consistent with our guidelines.
It's also how our first-party apps like Gmail and Maps work. So as we see this getting more widespread, I think users will become much more familiar with the pattern as well.
Right. I don't know if you caught the beginning, Nick, but Gmail was specifically called out in the writer's complaint. I think what he's probably talking about is that when you hold your phone in landscape, those little menu dots appear on the top action bar, and when you turn it portrait, then the action icons, including that menu, drop to the bottom.
Yeah, so, well, I think, yeah, the dots need to move because they need to stay grouped with the actions. So when their actions are at the top, the dots are at the top. When the actions are at the bottom, the dots are at the bottom. So I think that's kind of consistent. But it really is just a way to provide more options when you're in a narrow environment, as Sparky was saying. I think that's where we joined in.
Yeah. I agree that I do agree with the writer that it is potentially confusing to the users to have controls move around like this. I think one of the basic tenets of user interface design is that your frequently accessed affordances should be pinned to recognizable, consistent places. And the most frequently used ones should be in the most easily accessed places, like at the corners or edges of the screen. That was sort of like always the genius of Mac OS was sticking the Apple menu right there in the corner with a virtually infinitely large touch target. So, who else is on the line? There's nobody else in the video chat.
No, I was going to say,
We can ask Phil. Phil, do you have any more questions? Joined by...
Oh.
of course, we are on air, so if you're watching this on the YouTube channel on air, then feel free to add questions in the post, and we'll answer them live on the video. Also, if you are watching it on air, feel free to post one in the post so that we know how many people are watching it and we can see that you're out there. Are you out there?
So who's just joined us?
We're in the process of being joined by Sebastiano Poggi. Is that the right pronunciation?
Hi everyone.
Hey, Sebastiano.
Hey, Sebastian, do you have a
How are you
question?
Yeah, I was wondering, I need to mark a location on a production device with an app. Is that possible?
You need to...
Sorry, I didn't catch the question.
Can you say that again? You need to mark a location on a...
On a production device.
You need to mark a location on a production device.
Yeah, kind of like fake GPS does.
A mock a location. Fake a location.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
On an actual
Yeah.
device. That's a good question. You do a fake location by already on another device? Well, let's have a look. I've never faked a location on a real device myself. I've only done it on emulators.
Yeah. Looks like my phone's got it.
Your phone's got what? And in development options on ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. It says allow mark locations. It's in the developer options.
Which phone are you using?
Yeah. I'm using Galaxy Nexus as well, but this is just my test device. I need to get location information from another device and use it as because the device I'm going to work with hasn't got the GPS built in. So I'm trying to use the GPS information from another device.
Okay. So
And
it seems
my question is,
on the
is that
Galaxy
possible?
Nexus that you can pull the location. You can definitely pull the location off the other device, and you should be able to fake it on here. Where are we? Although I'm guessing those fake locations have to be pushed to the device over the cable, and probably can't be.
There's also some apps in market. I just put search around that let you set your GPS location. It obviously masquerade as a GPS provider.
128 megabytes with your free upgrade. I suppose you're saying.
So yeah, if you have a look in the Android market as well, there's some fake location applications already there.
Alright.
Hopefully one of them will be open source for you.
I see your bank transfer and they
Okay.
very much.
Well, have you got any idea on how am I supposed to do that? Because I found some code snippets on the web, and they use telnet from localhost to send geo messages, comments. Sorry.
Really?
But, I was wondering if that's possible on production devices without any adverse effects.
I don't actually know. You got anything on it, Sparky? Hi, Al Sutton.
Hey, Rich. Hey, guys.
Hearing there.
I'm afraid I don't have any direct experience with multiplications.
It's always good to have Al on. Maybe he's got an answer. Someone's trying to fake the location on a device inside an application.
Oliviero. Oh,
On a device itself, where
So we
emulate.
know that you can allow mock or fake locations on a Galaxy Nexus, and you can push those locations. But whether you can do it programmatically on the fly, I'm not sure about. On the device as well.
I think you have to push it from the SDK on a PC.
You can use DDMS to push it. Either use DDMS to send manual GPS locations, or you can set up a file and have DDMS and
Thank you very much, bye.
locations from the GPS file.
Yeah, so there's another way of doing it without you know that. Other than these hacks that you know, where you tell that into yourself and then send through DDMS resets. One of these things something like that.
I think Location Manager has some test providers you can set, right?
But will, if I set the location on the test providers, will every application on the device get it, or what? I don't really get how it works from the documentation.
I've not.
We'll be mapping out the location manager.
I've not used it before specifically, but my best guess would be yes. I mean, that's the way the kind of decoupled manner the Location Manager works. Any application requesting that provider should.
Okay, so if I use the location manager and say I have to use a test provider using the GPS location provider name, then all the applications that are using the GPS provider will get my data. Is that correct?
I believe so. I've not tried it myself. I'd have to try it to give you a guaranteed answer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth trying. It's setting the test provider location.
I'm just about to go to try it, so I'll let you know next week. Okay.
Yeah, try it. Let us know.
If you figure it out in the next half hour, come back and tell us.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cool. Nice to meet you. Thanks for your question.
That's quite a nice one. On the set test
Goodbye.
provider. Okay. Cheers, Sebastiano.
Welcome our new arrivals. We've got Al, Gabriel Hittner, George Shank, Jonathan. Well,
They said my name.
welcome everyone. Does anyone have a question about Android development?
Is that George?
Oh yeah, hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, I didn't realize you guys could hear me. I'm sorry.
Today. People don't want their faces on camera today for some reason.
Oh well, I'm kind of. I guess we can put it on there.
Oh, there we go. Hey.
So, yeah. So, are you guys just kind of doing a Q&A?
Yeah, totally. It's
Exactly what we're
office
doing.
hours, Android developers hangout. So anyone can come in and ask Android questions. I was hoping to get someone from DroidCon Berlin dropped in, so we can have a little wander around DroidCon Berlin. But they must all be too busy in their sessions.
Well, you know, one question I do have actually is the
XML building tools. Like I've seen the videos that you guys have of future tools that are coming that are going to be more WYSIWYG.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, do we know at all when those might be coming?
You know exactly what's going on with them. It's all developed in the open. If you go to tools.android.com, you can see exactly what Xav and Tor are up to. It's a very, very open process. They love comments and feedback, and that really helps them to prioritize features.
Tools.android.com.
And they've got a new release that they're beta testing at the moment, 17.
17, yeah, that's right.
Oh wow, okay.
Have you had a go of it, Al?
Yeah.
I've not thrashed it, but it looks like there's a lot of good stuff in there. I like the improvement to the lint functionality. It's like a nagging wife lint, but it does have its best intentions in mind.
It does.
No, I've picked up a few neat tricks from using lint when it tells me how to optimize my layouts and so on. A few tricks that I didn't know about. I think lint's a great tool.
Yeah.
There's always a few things to keep banging on about. The fact that it can fix some of the problems as well is great. I love the error correction built into lint. And they talk about it on the tools.android.com as well, but they are adding new rules into it with each version as well. So everyone's Android code can be better.
So George, it sounded like there's, you're quite keen on the WYSIWYG drag and drop editor. Are there any features that you'd like to see? I mean, what is it that you want from the tool that you can't do at the moment?
Well, I mean, just I guess the ability to actually drag and drop elements a lot. Because what I'm coming from is I started out with Android, and then I started using Interface Builder because I jumped over to iOS for a little while. And so just that kind of ease of dropping things in and having that representation translate to the screen almost exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you might have missed a few iterations. We're definitely getting closer to that. I feel like, with Android, there's a degree of flexibility you have to be able to work with the different screen sizes and ratios and so on. But I feel like the drag and drop tools are definitely getting much, much stronger.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Springs though.
What was that?
No springs.
Oh.
No springs. Yeah, thanks
Well,
for the link,
I'll definitely have to download the new tools then, because I didn't know that you guys are releasing them like that. I kind of just wait for the updates to go to Eclipse.
Yeah, so that'll be the stable kind of version, but the tools are built in the open, like I said, so you can, repo sync and build them yourself, or sometimes they release these kind of previews, like release candidates, to get feedback and work out whether it's going to work for everyone before pushing it through the Eclipse update site.
Nice.
Cool.
Oh, should say hello to a couple of you who have just joined us, Russell Hansen and Ivan.
Do you know what the big changes in 17 are?
There's a lot of lint work, and there's some ProGuard work that's an upgrade to the ProGuard version. So.
Okay.
There's also quite a big change in the way library projects are built, right? The way the resources are included, I think.
I've not played around with that. I'm not too sure. Let me have a look through that change log. There does seem to be a number of layout editor changes in it, so...
Cool.
Let's see what it says.
In case anyone's wondering, when you see Rich and I staring down at the screen, at the floor, we've both been running the new ASUS Transformer Prime, which is really, really nice little tablet, especially when paired with a keyboard dock and Chrome as well. So that's what we're doing. We're staring down at the floor.
We're not just looking down in shame.
Yeah, we're just checking out the...
On the other hand, when I'm staring down, that's just because I'm downcast because I don't have a Transformer Prime.
Oh, sorry.
Going back to the ADT, one of the things in ADT 17 that's pretty cool is the network usage graph. You can monitor how your app's using the network over real time, so you can see if you're trying to pull down large amounts of data, which comes in useful when you're trying to debug an app that might run on 2G networks.
So revamp lint UI, new lint checks, new quick outline for XML editors to show the structure of the current file, including icons and IDs.
Yeah, I definitely encourage everyone to go to tools.android.com, and if you click on the recent changes link on the left, you can see all the freshly baked stuff straight out of the oven. So do we have any more questions from? We seem to have quite a few live participants. Anyone want to pipe up with a question?
Welcome to all those people who just joined.
Jonathan, Paul, any of you guys who just joined us, do you have a question for us? Russell?
Gabrielle is typing.
I suppose Gabriel is working in a quiet office and doesn't have the luxury of speaking into the microphone. All right. Yes.
Posted a question on Sparky's original post. Have you got that one, Sparky?
Yes, indeed. Gabriel got the following lint warning. Exported service does not require permission. The service is used for a sync adapter. Is there a permission for sync adapter services that I can use? I could not find an answer to that question. Does anybody else know about sync adapters and permissions?
What was that question?
I'm just hunting your post, Sparky.
Yeah, I dug into that some, and I didn't turn anything up.
Then asked H, if you'd like to read the question. This, right, I'll get Sparky's question.
We're getting a question from Jonathan. We're getting potentially text input from Jonathan.
Russell, you should ask a question. You don't have any questions?
So for sync adapter, I think the permissions you need are read sync settings, write sync settings, and authenticate accounts. Oh, and manage accounts as well, I believe. And if you're going to write anything to the contact stream, which is kind of what you want to do often with a sync adapter, then you'll need the contacts permissions as well, like write contacts, read contacts.
We have it. Patches.
There's an excellent post on sync adapters, which is kind of my go-to reference. There's the sample sync adapter in the SDK, which gets you a lot of the way. But Sam Steele, who's a great developer from Last.fm, has blogged his experience of writing one, which I found very helpful when I was learning about them. So if you search for Last.fm sync adapter, it should come up. And thanks to Sam for writing that up.
Hopefully you got that, Gabriel. Is there a link I can post for him in the chat? Oh, you just...
Jonathan says, any thoughts on recycling 9 patches? I don't quite know what you mean by that. Maybe you'd like to flesh out with your question with a little more detail.
Yeah, why would you recycle them?
I mean, are you talking about using the same 9 patch on several different drawables and having it rescale for each one? I certainly don't think it's a problem, say, to have one 9 patch that's used by, say, every element in a list view or something.
I'd say that's encouraged.
Okay.
So whilst he's typing, I'll guess that he's got an unusually large 9 patch. I came across one. The lint warning is that any app that can access my... Oh, we're back on the sync service. My sync service, because it doesn't specify a permission to access it, my sync adapter is working. Okay.
Okay. The one is that any app can access it. Oh, right, so you want to know how to specify your own permission, and then on your service, and then grant it only to your activities and so on.
We've got a dot on that.
Yeah.
He must have done this as well, yes.
Jonathan wants to use a different 9 patch background on different pages, essentially in a view pager. Certainly I don't see a problem with that. I mean, are you coding it and is it not working right? Or is this more of a speculative question? Speculative. Yeah, seems like it ought to work. I say try it. When in doubt, try it. It's only software. What's the worst that could happen? I suppose the worst that can happen is you leave off one semicolon and then the entire East Coast loses telephone service for half a day.
Tell that to the guy who put the comma instead of a full stop in the rocket launch program. That was.
So on Jonathan's one, I'll get back to Gabriel's in a sec. I'm still looking for the page on that. On Jonathan's one, if you've got a view pager, you've got a couple of choices over how you maintain all the views in it. So you can either keep them all in memory all the time, if you only have a couple of views, or you can be passing them in and out of memory as they are requested and then as they go off the screen. So you only keep the central, maybe 2 or 3 in memory at a time. If you're doing that, then make sure when one goes off the screen that you do set the background drawable back to null again, if you want to ensure that you're not keeping the 9 patch in memory.
He says, he's asking because the recycle functionality bitmap is not exposed to 9 patch drawable. I had thought that bitmap recycling wasn't so important post Gingerbread. Is that true, you guys?
No.
I haven't heard that.
Vitally important, always.
I thought we should be, certainly in view pages and list
it
views.
was explicit garbage collection that you're not supposed to do now. Is that right?
Yeah, so in which case, Jonathan, if they're taking up too much memory, Jonathan, certainly look out for memory warnings as well and make sure you get them out of memory if necessary.
So yeah, in your on low memory callback, make sure you're cleaning up aggressively there.
And other than that, as they go off the page, you can clean them out of memory if you want. There isn't a recycle for them. I assume that you're using them straight from the resources and they're getting loaded as a background image to the page. Yeah, so you can just set those background images back to nothing again as they go off and then reload them. And if that's not too much of a performance hit, then you'll save the memory, else spend the money on the memory and keep it running fast. But you can try both out. So we were looking at declaring enforcing permissions on Android for Gabriel. Yes, Gabriel, is that the same that you've got there? Topic security, yeah. I think it does. That's the page I was about to post in to Gabriel, the one that Phil's just posted in the links, for enforcing security on Android, enforcing permissions on Android. I should click on that link originally. Can you have a look at that page, Gabriel?
Yes.
Is George going to ask a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the, I was going to type it in, I didn't want to interrupt, but you guys have said something to the effect of CDMA devices, I'm trying to find the post right now, but CDMA devices are going to, what is it here? We will make available as many possible closed source binary. Here, I'll put the link up.
Just
But you guys,
Brian Griffey, welcome to the Hangout.
Hey guys.
So for those of you who may have missed the first part, we're the EMEA Android DevRel team, and we're talking Android development. So any questions you might have, we're here to answer them for you, or at least to address them. Let's see, got a link from George. Does anyone want to ask a question while we're digesting this link here?
That's George asking about support of CDMA devices in the AOSP.
right, so I've got a Nexus S4G, and I didn't quite understand what this meant in regards to support for my phone in future updates.
The issue, as I understand it, is with the drivers which are actually needed to support the CDMA hardware, and getting the agreement to redistribute those has been an issue. Hence why the AOSP builds aren't supporting it by sort of in the default builds. And until, I believe it's a legal issue and something with the original component manufacturer, and until they can solve that, it won't be part of the default build, but that doesn't mean that there won't be firmware updates for the device. Those will still roll out as normal. It will just mean that you won't be able to build everything from source.
Okay. Yeah. See, that was the main question, because I know right now you can pull, I think it's called Crespo 4G, and build it, but I wasn't sure if this just meant like a full stop on all updates for CDMA Nexus devices.
No, it's all about the AOSP. JVQ has put out a post on it as well as Dan's clarifying some of the points, and it's just literally for the AOSP where it's building from scratch that you won't be able to do it because of the problems with getting hold of the drivers.
Right. Okay.
And of course, there is no such thing as an unlocked CDMA device, so you would have difficulty putting in any sort of generic telephony.
Yeah, I'll be. My next one will definitely be a GSM. I moved to Sprint for the Google Voice integration actually, and that turned out to that's really nice. But the limitations that come with a CDMA device have been less than satisfactory.
George, out of interest, whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Utah.
Oh, cool.
Utah. You're up early.
What's that?
You're up very early.
Yeah. Well, you know, don't want the day to start without you.
We're still waiting on someone to do all 3 developer hangouts in a week. So if you feel like going for a challenge.
So when are these next ones?
2 p.m. Pacific should be one, and then 2 p.m. or Eastern, one of the Eastern time zones. Yeah. It's probably about 8 hours from now for the next one, then 8 hours after that. Oh no, it was already. Did it happen this morning? It happened 8 hours ago, so you've already missed the first one. There was one 8 hours ago, and there'll be one in 8 hours' time. So we do the 3 main time zone blocks with 3 sets of Android developer relations teams that we have spread across the world.
Awesome.
But there will be one, yeah, Pacific time from our Mountain View office. There'll be one at 2 p.m. today.
So where are you guys?
We're in London, and Sparky here is in Munich.
That's right. But really, the one you want to join is Mountain View.
The guy is moving his lips. But
you want to watch the Mountain View one.
Okay. He looks like he's in a really small office.
Yeah, you should check the Android Hangout room out. It's quite a special room. If Nick moves his head, there's androids trying to get in at the window at the back. I'm not sure if you can see them. Somewhere over there. They're all fighting to get in through the window.
So behind it.
And all the furniture screen.
George, I've just put up a link. It was actually Dan who posted the clarification about CDMA support.
Okay.
If you have a look at that, you'll see what it says.
Awesome. Thanks, Al.
Cheers, Al.
No worries.
Right, let's have a look back on the thread and see if anything's appeared on the Plus page or on the Sparky's page.
Or if there's anyone in the room who wants to ask a live question, please.
I got one for you guys. I've written a custom sync adapter to integrate with Google's sync services, and I was wondering how syncs get scheduled. I read that with Google services there's a network tickle that causes a sync to start, but if you write your own custom sync adapter, how often is that fired, or do you have to fire an event to get it to start syncing?
I don't know the answer offhand, but I know the design decision of a sync adapter is that it happens periodically, that you shouldn't be firing off your own events to initiate the sync. I think the idea of the sync adapter is you hand it over to the system, and then the system can do smart things like batching up updates and so on and so forth. So it's not waking up the device the whole time in order to sync all these different accounts you have installed. So I don't know the exact specifics. I'd have to dig into it to find out what the schedule is. But I believe you kind of like put the faith in the system, and it kind of will phase shift all your updates.
Cool, thanks.
Has anyone else got any other experience with sync adapters who might be able to add to that?
There was a blog post, I thought, a year or two ago when they were initially introduced that went through the whole life cycle of them. I'm trying to see if I can dig it out now.
On the Android developers blog?
Yeah.
actual race, so you can Google it first.
Well, let's see. Welcome to Alexandra, who just joined us. Do you have a question about Android development you'd like to ask us?
There are some more questions now on the thread, so I'll start running through those. Unless anyone's got another question. Apparently we're echoing quite a lot as well, for some reason. Hey, alright. So, from David Scott, is there a limit on the number of applications you can upload to the Android market? I've never seen a limit. I've never seen anyone hit a limit, and there are people with a lot of apps. I can see you have quite a lot of published apps as well.
You can reach that limit.
Yeah, you're trying to.
I think there's a limit of like 50 per day, right?
I've not ever heard of anyone running into a limit.
I've had questions from developers who wanted the daily cap on application submissions lifted because they wanted to be able to upload hundreds of apps per day. It makes me wonder where they come up with the resources to write 100 good quality apps every single day. But that was the ask.
I was chatting to someone who has several hundred apps. Basically what they have is they have a template engine for magazines, and they have each magazine wants its own application with its own icon and its own layout, and all they do is take the files from the magazine publisher, feed them into this template engine, and that is what they release as an app. He was telling me they release 30 or 40 a week at times.
I wouldn't know anything about that kind of company. And is there any way of deleting unpublished apps? No, there's not a way of deleting unpublished apps at the moment. I guess there's quite a few reasons for that. But one of them would be that people might still have that app installed on their phone, and if you delete it from the market, things could get a bit freaky. I've never seen, well, there isn't a way of deleting them at the moment.
Actually, they haven't been yesterday.
Never been published, then you can delete it. But yeah, that was we had an interview with the Android Developer Console team, who are based here in London last week, and that question came up as well, and they said it's something to kind of put on their roadmap. So thanks for kind of showing us lots of interest in that.
There's a related question asking whether the Developer Console will show app rankings, store page views, etc. We've taken a lot of feedback about the Developer Console, including things like where you're ranked in each country and in each of the lists. And that feedback is with the Google Play Developer Console team at the moment. But obviously we're not going to make any announcements or talk about future releases during this Hangout. Where can I find a tutorial for OpenGL on Android? There's OpenGL examples.
There's an OpenGL section in the dev guide as well.
And an OpenGL section in the developer guide. So developer.android.com and search for OpenGL is a good place to start.
It's under dev guide graphics, I think it is. OpenGL.
Oh.
So that's the very basic, best place to start. It's quite good actually.
What was it? I'll press it into here.
Welcome to Michael, who's just joined us. Did you have a question about Android development?
No, that was actually my daughter making noise.
Hey.
You have a question, sweetie?
I didn't.
Future Android developer.
That's right.
Get me up.
Interesting.
George is asking, are there any plans for the NDK to be used more substantially, even as a replacement for the current Java way of doing things? I would expect that there's not going to be a shift away from the Java way of doing things. There may be potentially increasing uses of NDK underpinnings to accelerate those things that we want to go faster. But there's definitely interest in preserving a unified, single, sort of most platform correct way of doing things, and that would be through Java.
Okay.
I'd also say with the kind of, there seems to be more and more ABIs being added to Android as well, so you have things like the MIPS tablets and so on and so forth. So I think that direction, if we see it continue, is going to make the NDK less attractive to many developers, and that having some kind of abstraction layer over the top, be it the Java layer or be it render script or something using LLVM, is going to get more and more attractive. So I think it depends on the direction of the industry somewhat as well.
Okay.
With Android coming out on Intel, that NDK thing becomes even more of an issue. So if anything, it's probably wise for developers to move away from the NDK if they're relying on it, their apps running on a single platform at the moment.
Yeah. I have to see how that NDK issue on Intel resolves itself. Whether they do build an ARM emulator into the Intel chipset, either in software or...
Yeah, have that layer, don't they? Yeah.
I haven't seen any performance stats for it though.
But yeah, I think RenderScript is actually looking like a really interesting technology for doing kind of really high performance graphics and compute. I mean, because that's going to bring you a lot of portability and performance. So I think that's turning, getting very much interesting as 4.0 and 3.0 starts to proliferate the market.
Do you want to go with Damien's question, and then I'll have a look at Thomas's question?
Yeah, Damien, Mr. Drotox asks on the comment thread, for a sports event app, which is phone only at the moment, offers a video live stream and in-app purchase. RTSP the best option on Android, or do you think it's better to do HTTP live streaming and force the user to install a plugin or Flash?
On the door handle.
I'm inclined to say on newer devices, HTTP live streaming, so from Android 3.0 onwards, HLS was introduced, and I'd say that provides a better experience due to the adaptive bitrate functionality on there. So if you have the luxury of being able to implement both, I'd say being able to do HLS for 3.0 and above, and then fall back to RTSP on all the devices would be the ideal scenario. If you're not able to do that, then I guess you have to prioritize what's more important. So things like adaptive bitrate you can achieve in Flash or some proprietary solutions. If that's not so important to you, then RTSP is going to get you the widest kind of coverage of devices. So I guess it comes down to, what's your target market.
Comprehensive answer to any media streaming question from me. Right now, off topic, how do you see how many viewers are on? You can't currently see how many viewers are on. How does Android 17, I've already done that one. The quality of Android apps is better than the ones on Apple, because stats show iPhone app crash on Android apps. Fair enough, thanks. I said that too. What do you guys think of App Inventor for Android? I think it's a great educational tool. I personally wouldn't try and write an entire application using App Inventor. It's quite long-winded. But actually seeing all the constructs appearing in front of you as you do your for loops and your ifs and everything all graphically on the screen, yeah, it's a nice, neat way to learn a programming language and see the code that's generated. But
I thought MIT was a nice try. It was a nice try, but it really wasn't ready for prime time. Having to launch two completely separate tools to build the program wasn't doing it for me.
We'll have to see where MIT take it, if they actually do a lot of work on it and run with it and make it a better tool, or if they just host it for a while.
They seem to have recently done a relaunch, and they're pushing it, so it looks like they're going to run with it.
Yeah, I saw that it's up and launched again. Is there any possibility to pay for a real postcard which was sent using an app with in-app purchases?
Talk to Touch now.
Is there any possibility to pay for a real postcard?
Pay for real-world items with in-app.
No, that's against market policy.
It sounds like...
No.
No.
So they're talking about whether you can use in-app billing to pay for physical items, which the answer is no.
Well, you certainly can't do that.
Yeah, it's right there in the terms and conditions. You cannot sell physical artifacts through Android applications using in-app purchasing. It's against the rules.
So no, well, it's also an opportunity. You can't use in-app purchase, but you can embed any of your own purchase methods. So if you wanted to embed Google Wallet or PayPal or your own
He's asked if you can use
credit
Google
card,
Wallet.
then that's fair play.
Thomas, I'm considering implementing LVL, but my feeling is it's not worth the trouble as it's pretty easy to break it. Are you aware of some meaningful way of how to implement it? Yeah. Dan Galpin's done quite a few talks on this and written posts on this. There's a lot of ways to write strong LVL implementations. If you have a quick look on the Google I/O site, he did a video talk last year about pirates and vampires, and that went into a lot of detail about amazing ways to use LVL inside your application, ways to make the implementation very secure, and ways to upsell users who are trying to get around it.
So there are ways of doing it. I mean, I guess, yeah, you should check out the Evading Pirates and Vampires talk from I/O 2011. And that actually talks you through a way to do the kind of verification step off device. So you're actually using your server to verify that the LVL response hasn't been tampered with or changed in any way. So I think that's a very good way to do it.
And one of the main things that seemed to come out when LVL was launched was reverse engineering code and modifying the reverse engineered code. So that's quite a strong indicator that you shouldn't just be cutting and pasting code from any LVL examples and putting them in a live app.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, yeah, we provide a lot of sample code to help you guys to bootstrap your development. But yeah, when it comes to something like that, you definitely want to be modifying it using, you know, some kind of reflection or some kind of obfuscation or checksums and things like this in order to kind of evade any or slow down any pirates.
And potentially do the security checks on your server side. Just pass the messages still encrypted up, then you don't have to include any encryption keys inside your app. So, someone just asked about the fab.com app. I'm assuming that you don't use Android Market in-app purchases to buy the goods, but...
So George, you're on the call, right? Do you want to give us a quick description to what's going on with that?
Oh, well, I mean, I haven't bought anything through it, but my impression was that it was something that you could make purchases through the application for actual clothes.
Yeah, you probably can, but I doubt it's using our billing service to do it. So like the eBay app as well. Similar thing, you buy physical goods, but you're paying through your eBay/PayPal account. And this is probably similar, you pay with your account on the site or whatever. It would be awkward to do in-app billing on there because you'd have to set up a lot of different payment values to be able to cover all the items in the shop. Yeah, SKUs.
And the use of credits as an intermediary, so you buy credits with in-app payments and then use those credits to buy real-world good, that's also banned, I assume.
Yeah, really it is. Marco wants to know if there's any way of setting a system-wide value so all applications can read it. Set a property at system-wide level so it can be read from all other applications. I'm looking at something more powerful than system.setProperty that can't influence other applications.
I'm not quite sure.
Well, there being Android, there's a few ways of doing it. It depends. If you just want to notify a lot of applications of a value at one point, you can broadcast it out, and then your applications that are listening for it can pick it up. You could write it into a file, and then pick it up. You could write it into a database, people could pick it up. You can give public access to a lot of different things on Android. I don't really know where else you'd want to put it. If you're asking whether you can just stick it in memory somewhere, you would probably have to have a service that people could bind to and read it.
A content provider would seem to be one of the most sort of logical ways of doing it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, content provider or writing it to the external storage, which is world readable.
There's tons of different ways of doing it. I'm not quite sure what you're looking for. Just for a single property. So if you want to comment further, Marco, feel free to comment in either the chat or the thing, and the G++ will have a look. We've only got 5 minutes left.
Maybe I'll riff a little on George's follow-up question about what about this app? Does it violate the physical policy?
It's okay. We already spoke to George about that.
Okay.
And have a look at it. I believe it works in the same model as
Yeah,
the
I mean,
eBay app and things that you use there, payments. I'm very much down to
app or just like a deal locator. That's not the same thing. We definitely have lots of those.
Yeah. Oh.
There was a post in the
Rich,
comments of the Hangout post on Google Plus about a Google TV developer program being announced at DroidCon Berlin. Do you guys know anything about that?
Nope.
Nice simple answer.
I heard they were going to be there.
There was there's a comment in the Hangout post from Thomas Taschener about a Google TV developer program which was announced at DroidCon Berlin today.
Yeah, interesting. I know that Christian Kurtzka is at DroidCon Berlin today, and he did do a talk on Google TV. I guess it was the same developer program that was announced previously at other events, and if there are people who are interested in Google TV, please do get in touch with us and we can get you in touch with Christian and get you onto that program.
Or search for Christian on Google Plus.
Or, yeah, just go straight to Christian Kurtzka. That's probably Kurzke or something.
Nailed it.
Yeah, there we go. On Google Plus and ask him directly there. So.
Yeah, that'd be.
Of course, get some extra followers. Give him some juice. So Anthony's asking. He says that I wrote a post about ViewPager, which I did, and that the sample has gone. You think the sample code for my post no longer exists? Well, let me have a look. It was hosted on Google Code, so it should be there. If it's no longer there, then I can definitely put it back up.
Just while Rich is searching for that, I'd say one more thing on the Google TV developer program is that the Google TV guys run their own office hours, similar to us. So if you follow Christian and Les Vogels, I think that's probably the best place to ask that kind of question. They're probably better able to help you than we are.
Code seems to be still there, Rich.
It's still there, yeah. I see it.
Paste the link in the comment. What you said.
Sorry?
So we've just been joined by Peter Van. Welcome, Peter, my old buddy from the Palm Source days.
Thomas, Tasha, hey there, Thomas. Are you watching the video somewhere? Hey Nick, thanks for the answer. I had a feeling that you'd say do both. Nice from Damien. Yeah.
Sorry.
Who was I answering? Anthony. Thomas is saying, get your Logitech device to attend.
He's basically said that's the slide from DroidCon where they were launching the developer program.
Yeah, so if you joined the developer program at any point, you could get potentially get a Google TV box, depending on what you're working on. And Christian's just reiterating it at DroidCon. There's a link for it. If you have a look in the comments of this video, down to Thomas Tasha's comment, he has a link. Okay, and that is 3 p.m. GMT. So that's the end of our Hangout for today. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for coming live into the Hangout as well. It's really nice to see some faces in there. We were worried that people were just going to hide behind the YouTube and not actually come in and ask questions. Cheers, Jonathan, no problem.
Yeah, and one more final request is if you are watching on the live stream, it would be great if you could +1 the post on Google Plus so that we know that you were watching and enjoyed joining in the Hangout. So that would be great if you do that.
So Sparky, Nick and myself will be back at 2 p.m. next Wednesday.
Same Droid time, same Droid channel.
And if you need more of this before then, in about 7 hours time there'll be a Hangout, or 6 hours time now, there'll be a Hangout from Mountain View posted on the Android developers page. Cheers everyone.
Thanks guys.
Thank you.